Well, I think the first thing to say is that I would encourage people to read all of the winning papers and to look at all the winning case studies, because I think within all of the things that we've seen today, there are interesting lessons, different lessons, some lessons the same. But I think it's important in our industry just to draw on that information. I think Warc is a particular fountain of knowledge in terms of being able to sort of do that.
Keep it as short and succinct as possible, on the basis that your audience here is the same audience that you might be marketing the work to. So, big headlines, really clearly tied back to the business results and the business impact as early on in the story as you can get to.
Yeah, there were some long papers, but it wasn't. I mean, to be honest, long is fine. I think there were some papers that were a bit unclear, and I'm sure they were clear to the author, and I'm sure they'd been clear if it was all I had to do that day. But when you're reading, you read a good 20-something papers in the first round of judging, and then kind of almost that in the second round when you're reading the shortlists, and it's just after a while, judges, you've got other stuff to do that day. It really helps to have a clearly told story.
I guess the tip is really about again about the consumers. It's about the approach. The approach on social media for a brand is really different than the approach on a traditional media. So the brand needs to acknowledge what the consumers think and do on social. So for a case study like this to win, I guess it's really important to understand what are the social conversation about, where are they taking place, why are they taking place, understanding all this insight around social media to be able to understand the role the brand can play within the lives of the consumers, and based on that develop a strategy that will answer a business objective as well as answer a consumer needs, and in the end affect some sort of result, whether it's advocacy or sales. And I would
say putting a video on YouTube and just spreading it throughout social, for me, doesn't really a social strategy make. For me, there were quite a few, what I would say, digital strategies masquerading as social strategies, or even old school, TV strategies masquerading as social strategies, coming up with a strong slogan-y message for your campaign, using that to create, a bunch of content and pushing that out on your social sites. To me, that is not social.
In terms of advice for the next year's submissions, it's really important to have a first-rate executive summary. It's important to have a good narrative throughout, and definitely a lot of data to support your assumptions and your conclusions about business impact. But those are a few thoughts that I have.
What I would really recommend is focusing on other people's content and not yours. This is why we're in business. All the stats say that, what is more influential in terms of people buying more, becoming more loyal, changing their behavior, are recommendations and conversations and experiences they have with each other about a brand.
I guess the other piece of advice would be, don't just chuck the data in for the sake of having the data there. So use the points that are going to really deliver the story, and the points that are really going to show how the business was impacted as a result of the work that you delivered as the agency.